Welcome to the Peace and Possibilities podcast. This is Julie Bruns, and you are about to be inspired. I am so excited to share my conversations with amazing people from all walks of life who figured out how to be happy, peaceful, and content doing work they love and making the world a better place so that you can see what's possible for your life. I can't wait to hear what you think. Send me an email and let me know one thing you're taking away from this episode. And never forget, anything really is possible. So everyone, welcome. My guest this week is Fabiola Fiore. Welcome, Fabiola.
Thank you very much, Julie.
So it's so good to see you and talk to you. So I came across your work. I was visiting some family in Maryland, and I picked up one of those. I love to do this when we're traveling, like pick up a magazine or a local paper or something and then read about the people that live there and what it's all about. And there were a couple of articles. It was Coastal Magazine was the name of the magazine. And there were some articles about some local artists in there. And I read your profile and I thought it was interesting. And I thought, I'd love to talk to her. It's so fun to hear about how people came to do what they're doing in their lives and loving it. So that's why you're here today. So welcome.
And thank you very much. I'm very honored.
Oh, you're welcome. So tell everyone what you do now. I don't know if you've done this for years and years and years, but tell everyone the kind of art you do or your business now and how you got to this place in your life. Did you always dream of this work?
Well, I dreamed of being in the interior decorating, designing, and maybe even architecture, but I'll come back to that. So right now, I started in August of 2021, recycling bottles from restaurants and fusing them flat and in bowl shapes as serving dishes for charcuterie and fromage, cheese, and sushi. And then the bowl shaped ones for things that are a little bit more saucy and like a chicken salad or sauteed scallops or hanging shrimp on the sides and putting cocktail sauce in the middle and doing a lot of fun things when you're entertaining. And some of them I decorate with beads and stones and things. Others I actually, when I put them in the kiln, I put them on special molds. So there's a background design in the back of the glass. So each piece is different. Each piece is interesting. And in November of 2021, I decided, okay, I started with the back end of, dining, and now I need the dishware to eat on. So I decided to start buying glass sheets and cutting and making my own line of glass tabletop. So all my dishes are made out of bold, colorful glass.
Well, so you started doing this in August of 2021, but were you always an artist, or did you always have, you always had a kiln and you were just making things, or you're like, I just want to try this one thing? How did that come about?
Well, you know what? I always had the talent in my blood since I was a child, since I was born. But just that my parents and a lot of people around me didn't want me to become an artist. The whole idea of being, an artist that's a hungry artist and all that.
Starving artist, I know.
Starving. And so they all told me, no, go to business school, go learn international business marketing and all that. And when I graduated, there were no jobs in import, export, and international business. So everything was banking and also insurance. I ended up working for banks for 25 years on Wall Street and Rockefeller Center. But
Really?
throughout my whole life, I always drew and I designed. And my father, I could have gotten free schooling, totally free, at Parsons School of Design and Columbia University, where my father worked. And I could have become an interior decorator and I could have become an architect and so on and so forth. But they didn't want me to. So my father would let me take classes here and there, just to keep me quiet for a while. And I took photography classes and fine art classes at Parsons. and transferred all that to my business degree and
Right.
as liberal arts. But throughout my banking years, I designed pieces and I would have them made by others. So I never fabricated.
Okay.
And now I'm actually fabricating, with my own hands. And but I would give all my designs to my father and say, here, Papa, why don't you give this to one of your students for them to make this for me? And whether it was a piece of jewelry or fashion. And my mom also had a seamstress that made our clothes when I was
Okay.
a girl. So, so I did develop a lot of collections, but I never did make them myself or sew.
Okay. So you had, like you said, you had it in your blood. I can't believe you were in banking for that long. It's so fascinating. Like you said, you were born with the artist stuff in your blood, and then 25 years later, you're doing it now. But it's a little sad to hear that, even though you were doing it along the way, that's a huge chunk of your life to not be going for that thing you want. I'm so glad you're doing it now. Hold on one second. I'm gonna pause. What is there's a beeping.
Okay.
So a lot of people, I've talked to a lot of people on my podcast about, going for their dreams and then pausing and doing something else someone else wanted them to do. And it's just so fascinating to me that most people, they end up where they're supposed to be, which is like the artistic side that you were so adamant about early on when you were growing up with your father. And you ended up back there anyways, but it's like some people do take a little detour for 5 years, 10 years. Some people take a detour for 30 years. And it's just so fascinating that most people will take the detour because someone else in their life that they respect or admire is saying like, no, you can't do that. It's like, but I can. And then you end up doing it, doing it. And I don't know, I'm just curious, does your father say like, I'm proud of you, or, I knew you could do it all along, or is he still like questioning whether you can make a living doing this? I'm just curious.
Well, of course they questioned, both my parents questioned everything, but now at this point they're in heaven. But at some point, when I was caregiving my parents, both with Alzheimer's at home, I renovated the house he built in 1964 completely.
Okay.
And I was a project manager and managing all these teams of men working in the house in different parts, different places,
Yeah.
indoors, outdoors, and everything. And he was looking at everything I was doing. And even with the Alzheimer's, he was saying, oh, I wish so and so could see what you did to the house. I wish so and so and so and so. And he's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that you're doing such beautiful work, And I mean, marble staircases outdoors and granite and I turned the house to look Mediterranean completely.
Okay.
His original design was Mediterranean, but I made it even, like a total complete Mediterranean home.
Yeah.
And so he realized, but he didn't realize that I was actually doing so much with managing projects and redesigning things and all that, and the business in itself. Because when I actually started the business, I started an import-export website at the onset of the internet. And I was representing artists and artisans from Provence and La Côte d'Azur, from the south of France and the French Riviera.
Okay.
And then maybe a decade later, I decided, well, you know what, I want to grow and I want to represent artists from all over the world.
Yeah.
So I was still not my own designer, my own artist. I was posting photography on gallery sites that I'm still on, but not my own work. And after pandemic, I lost 2/3 of my artists and artisans that either went back home or either took a desk job or something else, And so I said, well, I have to do something about this.
Okay.
I have to be my own, producer here, And
I love that. I have to be my own fill in the blank, right?
Right.
Yeah, producer, you're
And
designing it.
fabricator and everything.
Yeah.
because,
Yeah, doing it for yourself instead of for other people. That's awesome.
right. So I'm still looking for others to, represent on my website, but I'm representing myself now,
That's awesome. I love
So
that. So when you were in banking and where you were doing all those things that weren't really truly in your heart and still doing the art on the side, all of those years, what was keeping you peaceful and happy and content and just like still grounded, like I'm gonna keep pursuing this, even though I'm doing this thing over here that you may have been very good at, but wasn't really truly in your heart? What did you tell yourself along the way, or what kept you going and positive?
basically just designing and having people make things for me. So I had jewelry being made by people in the jewelry district in Manhattan on 47th Street. I'd go up the elevators, find some companies and bring them some designs, bring them some stones and tell them, here, can you make this for me? And same thing with fashion. I went to all of the Indian stores in Flushing Main Street, bought my silks, and then I would go down to the fashion district in Manhattan and get all of the accessories and zippers and this and that. And I asked the storekeeper of the fabric stores, do you know anybody who can actually make something for me? And he said, oh yes, go to the back of the store. I have a tailor back there. And so I started making a whole line for my mother and myself, and interchangeable, that we could wear any top with any pants and vice versa. And we were the same size at the time. So, it was wonderful. And when I went on vacation and took my mom with me to the Caribbean a few times, we just gathered all the things I made and we would interchangeably wear all this, fashion that I had created. So now I want to continue with those two lines, the fashion and the type of jewelry I was making. But I'm continuing a lot with my photography. So photography kept me going, but designing also on the side. And I was also buying, blank t-shirts and painting on them. And
You're just constantly creating, sound like.
I was selling the t-shirts on my way to work on the express bus
Oh
from
my
Queens to
gosh,
Manhattan.
I love that. You
So
kept it going. You kept your dream alive. You kept your dream alive. I
yes,
love that.
absolutely.
So now that you're doing what you love and it's all about the art and designing and creating what you want and producing what you want, instead of going to other people and saying, can you make me this? You're doing it. What would you tell that little girl whose father said you can't do that or you shouldn't? Or what would you tell someone who's in their 20s or 30s saying, like, I really have a talent and I really want to do this, but I'm in this whatever law job or business job or whatever? What would you say to that person? What career advice would you give them now that you know what you know?
Well, first of all, I would tell them, learn as much as you can where you're working, from your family, from your family's friends, from anybody around you, and then pursue, your passion. Try to see, is that really the passion that you have, and start, little and see,
Yeah,
and then from piece to piece that you make, you actually are learning more and more. And your first piece may not be the most beautiful piece and the most elegant piece, but then as you grow into it, you will perfect yourself along the way. So not to get discouraged, and keep all the negative and jealous people away.
I love that.
Stay on your path.
I love that. I love that you say about keeping the negative people away, because I really agree. Especially when you're pursuing something that is not mainstream or someone else's, not like whatever. someone else or not typical, people will
Right.
say, and it's usually because of their fears, not because you're not capable.
Right.
They're discouraging you probably to support you or protect you a little bit, but it's like they're scared that they wouldn't be able to do it. So they're thinking, how could you do it? And that's just going to keep you from pursuing the things you want, like you said, in your passion. And it's going to keep you from going, and stay away from them. Just keep doing exactly what you want, where your heart's directing you. I totally agree. It's great advice.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. So what do you wish you learned earlier in your life or career when you think about that question and what you're doing now?
Well, you know what? I would say, unfortunately, I know loyalty is a great value to have and to offer and to be offered. Okay. But loyalty also um, keeps you, restrains you. It's like a weight because, it's a shame to say, but when you work for a company and that you're loyal to them, they don't always, want to accept or see your true value.
Yeah.
And they don't want to remunerate that true value that you have. And as soon as their sail starts shifting into a new wind, you may have to see that you're not going to be part of the next boat, and you're going to have to just jump ship and go somewhere else.
Yeah.
So, and my father always said, oh, stay in that job, stay in that company, accrue years with them, and then, you'll have stability, you'll have security, but not when new management changes
Yeah.
a different way of thinking. And that, they have a different path now for the company, the whole company as a, as a whole entity,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
not everybody in the company now is going to be pursuing something with them. So you have to go and keep on going, keep on going, keep on going. And, you know, um, I did stay in one of my banks 11 years. And I think that maybe I should have gone 5 years here, 5 years there, 5 years there, because I was still very young in my career. And
Yeah. So you were staying loyal probably because your father was saying to you, stay there, be stable, whatever. And if you had shifted around a little bit, maybe you could have been promoted or made a little bit more money.
promoted,
Yeah.
right, promoted more, and more money, because when you stay in a place, you don't always get more money versus going to a new place, then you can actually get, you have another edge.
Yes, for sure. It's great advice. So what do you think now that who you are now and what you're pursuing, what's the greatest gift that you offer the world every day? So what would someone say about you, or what do you think is the greatest thing that you bring to the world that's unique?
For me, it's teaching. And somehow I have that qualification that whatever I've learned, I can teach on. So, and, don't be selfish about your knowledge, share it, spread it,
Yeah.
because eventually that knowledge is not going to pursue everything that you've done. It will help others pursue other things. And things that you learn in one subject can be applied in another subject.
Yes.
While I was in college, I was teaching French to my other student colleagues, and and I actually was using mathematical algebra formulas
Yeah.
to teach them the grammatical structure of a sentence in French. And they were amazed. They were looking at the A plus B switching over with the C plus D. And, and they were like, oh my God, oh, now French is so easy to understand,
Oh,
And then I was also teaching conjugation with colors. So
wow.
the way you conjugate the verb, so the I do. So the do and the I both have to be the same color. You cannot mix and match your colors.
That's a great idea. That's a really cool concept.
They were
yeah, that's
out of the box concepts and
Yeah,
to make these students understand, because the students were of all different nationalities,
yeah,
so their languages were not maybe built the same way as French,
right.
English, Italian, Spanish, and so that's how I was able to teach them. So I was, proud to be able to on teach
Of
something
course.
that I was taught by my parents and by my boarding schools in France.
Yeah.
Went to two boarding schools. I went to middle school in the south of France and in Provence, and I went to high school in Burgundy. So
Okay.
teachers were all, critical of me because, oh, she's the American kid. But no, I'm not the American kid. I'm the French kid who was born in New York. But I'm
Yeah.
the American kid, because
Yeah.
I have dual citizenship, dual nationalities. But, they considered me like the outcast kid.
Oh,
And so I was
you made the best of it. You made the best
always,
of it.
yeah, and always being corrected, always being corrected. So,
Yeah.
so I on teach to others, whatever
That's
proficiency
awesome.
have.
Awesome.
Yeah.
What's one new thing you're taking away from our conversation today?
I think it's that at this point of my life, I think I'm the happiest right now. And I'm happy where I came to live. I left New York City and now I'm in southern Delaware, right on the beaches. And I find that it's a big artist colony here. And so I'm exhibiting at the art leagues that I've become a member of. I do craft shows. I do private shows in restaurants. I do a whole different combination. I go to farmers markets to sell also, all the products that I'm making. And so it's very nice that it's more than accepting. I think the people down here, they all appreciate more. Acceptance, I think, is just like a passcode to enter through that doorway to
Yeah.
go into another, group. But appreciation has a value added to it, a
Yeah.
monetary value and a humane value. And
Mhm.
people do appreciate. And so that's what I like about, living around here, and that people really, they see the workmanship that you do, and all the efforts you've made, and all that, and they ask questions and I explain to them.
Yeah, that's
They
interesting.
love
More
that.
fun.
They
Yeah.
really love that,
Yeah, they have a passion for it.
so.
So
And
how can people get a hold of, so can people buy, are you selling your art that you're producing and creating online?
yes,
How can
on my
people get a hold of
website,
your work?
so they could go to www.magaliboutique.com.
Magali Boutique. Okay, I'll put that in the notes. Okay.
Boutique. So, and then once they're on the website, they have my phone number there. They have my email addresses and everything. They'll see products that are made by other artists and artisans
Awesome.
from all over the world that I still have connections with, and my work. And I'm updating my work. I'm adding more of my colorful dishware as I add a color on. So
Awesome.
I'm currently this year until December, I'm doing a lot of craft shows and craft fairs and artisanal markets.
Are those all posted on your website too? If someone's
Yeah,
in the
well,
area?
they're posted not on the website because the website is really an e-commerce where there's less information, more
Yes.
selling.
Yeah.
But on my Facebook under Fabiola Nadjar or Fabiola L Nadjar Fiore or one of my Magali La Farandole LLC.
I'll have to, yeah,
Is-
I will have to put all those links in so everyone can get them with their beautiful
So
accent.
there, they'll see I did post my whole yearly activities, plus every month I post just the month, and every week I post just the week of where to find me. But it's basically a farmers market in Milton, Farmers Market in Nassau Valley Vineyards in Lewis, the Revelation Beer Garden in Hudson Fields, and the Creative Market in West Rehoboth, and then other shows that I have here and there, and at the Milton Arts Guild and the Rehoboth Art League. So,
Awesome. I'll put all that information in there. Thank you for sharing. It
yeah.
was a pleasure to talk to you and get to know you a little bit better, Fabiola. Good luck with all of your work.
Thank you very much.
All right. Take care. Keep creating.
I will. Thank you.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks for listening. I hope you loved this episode. Don't forget to like us, subscribe, review, and share it. I hope you were truly inspired. And for a little more inspiration, don't forget to pick up my book, Peace, Possibilities, and Perspective: 8 Secrets to Serenity and Satisfaction in Your Life and Career. I can't wait to get you love in your life.